I like blue because it's not permanent, it's gonna wash off, but it is red brick, so if you pop a light line with red, it's not the end of the world. Boom, just like that. So what we've done is we've ground every other mortar course to this blue line. That's going to ensure that every single piece is the same size and it looks uniform. That is going to change based on the pitch of the roof, but on this one we've got it at 10.5, chalk that line at 10.5, and now we get to measure down to see how long these are going to be. So we're going to make them 12 inches long, each individual piece. Another very important thing that I like to do is a riglet on my flashing. So in order for the riglet to go into the mortar line, it needs to be a little thicker than your average blade. Like, you can't just do one pass, it's too thin. So kind of open that up a little bit and run your passes a few more times to make it a little thicker. You want it basically 2 thicknesses of your standard blade. So now we have to go to the ground and bend the flashing and the brake. Okay, we're going with black. I'm marking it on the back side. We want a 12-inch piece, so I'm gonna add 2.5 inches to that. So we're making a 14.5-inch piece of metal. Okay, I made my piece 12 inches plus 2.5 because I'm doing 1.25 inches as my first bend for my riglet. So it'll be, you're adding 1.25 inches to each side. I'm gonna put a riglet on both sides of this piece of flashing. I'm gonna bend that a little bit more than a 90. I'll explain why in a second. And then I like to make this second bend between 7/8 and 15/16. Perfect. And that is the edge of your flashing. Now we're going to do the other side. Same exact way. So, 1.25 inches. And 7/8 or 15/16. Perfect. First thing you want to do is get a really good, clean, straight edge on the end of your metal. Go ahead and cut that, and I do stress that you want this cut to be very clean and accurate, because you're going to use it like this with your square to get the angle of your flashing. You want to use your pivot on your square right at the bottom corner, and this is a 6/12, so this common area is our pitches. Line that up with your 6 because we're working with a 6/12, and continue this this line up the roof. Get it as accurate as you can right there. Now we have 2 pieces. Once we cut this out, we'll use it as a pattern and just make our pieces just like that. If you want to double check that your square is right, I'll teach you how to do it mathematically. We know this area is a 6/12 pitch. We're going to figure out the pitch factor of a 6/12 by doing this. So we just put the 6 there, cross them out, put the 6 over there, divide 12 by 6. The pitch factor of a 6/12 is exactly 2. So this is our piece of flashing that we're doing, and we're 12 inches here. Our pitch factor is 2, so all we have to do is multiply 12 by 2. So this should be 24 inches long. Let's see how we did. 23.5. So my angle might have been a little bit off. It's always good to double check your piece before you make 50 million of them. It's kind of cool to see how close the lines are. Like when you're doing 20 foot of stepped counter and you're off by a ½ inch. There we go. Let's go double check this before we make a bunch of them. It's not a 6/12. I mean, I guess this is actually gonna make the video better because it's very realistic about how life actually works. Because the Eagle View said 6/12, but it's actually an 8. Okay, so the Eagle View was wrong. It's not a 6/12, so all that goes out the window. Now we get to do calculations for an 8/12 pitch. So 8 times x equals 12. Divide 12 by 8, which I believe is 1.2, but we'll do our math just to double check. 1.5. Okay, so here's our piece of flashing. We want this to be 12 inches. We're going to multiply that times 1.5. So this should be 18 inches, not 24. Still going to go double check it though. Make sure it fits. All right, can you see that? Perfect. This is good, we checked it. We're ready to make 10 of these. I'm just gonna basically trace both sides. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom, just like that. All right, special note, I left this one long for my first one in case I want to fold a little excess around the corner. Sometimes you can use this piece and it works out fine, but sometimes you want to have a little bit more to wrap around the corner. So I'm going to leave that one like that in case we need it for the first one. Next stage of the process is using our bender bar to put the edge in the metal like that. Keeps that stiff and it'll keep it tight to the wall. So we'll go ahead and do that on all of them. There we go. Your first piece is always a little funky. All right, this is a secret tool, a painter's putty knife. That's what I use to drive this riglet into the crack. Okay, nice and snug. And then I like to caulk as I go. So I'm gonna caulk it right now. I'm sorry for yelling. The mic is right at my throat. I forgot about that. Okay, so now when our next piece goes on, I've got caulking behind there, so I don't have to worry about caulking the verticals. However, I've only got like an inch, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut those steps back a little bit so I can get back in there a little further. That looks a little better. So that's where I'm gonna be, right there. Oh, now, very important thing, you wanna over bend the front of it so that as it goes into the wall, it pulls that tight. If it's just at a 90 or worse, less or more than a 90, it's gonna be floppy. You want it to be nice and tight. As you drive it in, it actually goes tighter to the wall. Nice and snug right there. Beautiful. I really enjoy trying to get it behind the shingles, and then it's guaranteed to lay flat against the wall. So I've got a small gap they left me, which is just perfect for sliding that flashing in behind it. And since my angle is spot on, it runs right behind those shingles all the way up, which is super nice. And the back is pushed all the way tight, but the front, you don't want to push it in too tight because I've got this bend. So it's, you know, a 1/4 inch off the wall basically, and that allows that to run straight down without putting a curve in it. So, you know, when I started out doing this, nobody really taught me how. There wasn't videos about how to do it, like, so that it's not gonna leak. It's done really well, high quality, but also looks good and doesn't take you like all day long. So I feel like this is about as quick as it's gonna get as far as the amount of time it takes. And quality is way up there, and I think it looks really good. So this is what works for me, and hope it helps. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, I know you're gonna enjoy my in-depth class I did with Building Experts Institute on installing asphalt shingle roofs. Link in the description below. I've also got some condensed versions of that class right here for you to enjoy. As always, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps me out and helps the channel so that I can keep making content like this. Thanks.